Hello, hello! It's yet another episode of A Star to Steer Her By, your favorite Star Trek watching podcast, and we're still watching Enterprise. But we're in Season 4, so it's better than Season 3 at least.
And it's almost over.
Closer to the end.
That's bleak, Chris.
Actually,
Wowzer.
Closer to a two-parter that I do enjoy immensely.
It's the Mirror Universe one. We all know this, Chris. You've been saying this for 7 fucking years.
God, I hope I'm still right.
I'm gonna take that one off, I think. But this week we're doing 2 other episodes. The episodes we're looking at this week are Home and Borderland, here on our episode number 356.
Woo!
Woo-hoo-hoo. And because of all these episodes that you've been listening to, you know that this is Ames.
This is Caitlin.
This is Jake.
And this is Chris.
Coolies, let's dive right in, because why not? Fuck it.
Let's get it over with.
In Home, it's Enterprise tries to do family from TNG to various effects.
It's true.
It's the same fucking show.
Yep.
Archer and crew are getting their heroes welcome back at Starfleet headquarters.
Starfleet CG planet.
Oh my god. We'll get to this. It looks so
Arena.
bad. So bad. And then the plot kind of just splits off into 3 mini plots, so I'm just going to lump each one together.
Yeah.
Instead of going chronologically, episode scene-wise. Plot A. Archer's debrief about what happened with the Vulcan ships, the Von Kara and the Saleya, goes very poorly, and he starts yelling at Soval, who's only making logical points. So Archer decides, I'm gonna go rock climbing. But his old girlfriend, Erica Hernandez, who's also the captain of the nearly complete Columbia, invites herself along so he can have someone to monologue at. And he talks about how he's actually, troubled by all the war crimes he's been committing, which is, a good touch to include, and also insisting that, the Columbia be kitted out as militaristically as possible, which is a less good touch. And then they just make out a lot, which is just entirely way too much touching entirely. Finally, at the end, he sees Soval again and apologizes, and Soval reassures Archer that, don't worry, buddy, everything you did in the Expanse was justified. That message that Enterprise just can't stop making, and I'm thinking they really should have wrestled in the mud instead. Damn it.
Well, he was too busy wrestling with Erica.
Oh, not enough mud.
Ha-cha-cha-cha. Ha-cha-cha.
Plot B. So there's all these rumors going around on Earth that everyone is now super xenophobic and blaming any alien in shouting distance for that original attack on Florida. And Phlox is like, that's probably fine. I'm going to ignore this and go day drinking with the boys. And of course, some slack-jawed yokel comes over and harasses them at their table, and everyone gets into a big old bar fight until Phlox puffs out his face like a pufferfish. And everyone gets scared off, and Reed and Mayweather even seem to, want to leave, because this is uncomfortable as hell. And that was just weird. So then he goes to have a chat with Hoshi, who's still convalescing from that brain fuck, and she's just appalled at all the racism and says, Phlox, you really should, go down there and, prove to everyone that, they shouldn't be racist against you in particular for, the crimes of people who aren't you at all. And he's like, no, Hoshi. It's okay. They're right to be racist after a tragedy, and I head desk straight to the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, the messages in this episode are bizarre, but the moments are all interesting. But Jesus Christ. Plot C. T'Pol invites Trip home to Vulcan, where we Mommy, Teles, who has left the Science Academy, sad face, and also Cass, T'Pol's old fiancé, who is still totally down to clown with her because she's hot.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
T'Pol is
do better.
all conflicted about it because she doesn't want this life. She wants to play on Enterprise some more. Until Cass tells her that, it'd get Mommy. I wrote to Mommy. Good job, Langs.
Oh, no.
It would get to Mommy back in good graces because it turns out these Vulcans are illogical as hell, and they forced her to retire because of T'Pol's involvement ages ago in that whole Pajem thing, which is absolutely not her fault, but fuck her anyway. And Mommy's like, Tucker, you're hitting that, right? And Tucker's like, well, evidently not anymore, Cap'n. I mean, Mom. And they have a super sad about it because T'Pol does go marry the guy, and T'Pol, gives him a little kiss, and she looks hot about it. So, the end, I guess. Mazel tov.
Yeah.
What a mess.
I don't know. I was picking something up between Tamami and to Tucker.
To Tucker?
I was about to say, I was thinking, like, I feel like in that last scene, she was like, so you're really not going to try to break up the wedding? Well then, how about these?
Yeah,
What's that from?
she was definitely getting something going here. Must be a family thing. Those women in the T'Pol family, they like the human D.
Yeah,
Or
we
at least
learned nothing
specifically
about Daddy.
He's dead. And
Apparently.
Yeah, we do learn that he's dead.
and apparently was roughly the same build as Trip.
Ooh.
Yeah,
What's going to happen is, like, there's going to be some scene in the future where, like, T'Pol has a photo of him and he's just a human. It's just a human guy.
I
It's
thought you were going to
actually,
say
it's actually Trip's dad.
Oh, gross.
No, God.
no. I thought you were going to say there's a photo and it's just I can't think of his name, but Trip's
Ethan Peck.
actor done
Connor
up
Trinneer.
as Connor Trinneer done
Yes,
up
that's
as
right.
a
Yeah,
Vulcan.
it's just, oh God, yeah, just
The wig and the
just like
ears.
with
He'd look
the
good.
ears.
He always looks good, though.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, look, no offense to the guy, but I feel like they definitely went out of their way to find a guy who was deeply average looking to be the fiance.
Who is not as handsome as Trip.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this guy, I'm just like, what a dud. Personality-wise, he's a dud. Maybe he just looks better without that haircut. No offense to the human under it, but yeah, I'm just like...
I mean,
Well, let's say
personality-wise, he's Vulcan, right? Like,
No, like, personality-wise, he's worse than a dud and worse than Vulcan. He's a Disney villain. He's
Yeah.
like, well, if you marry me, I
He's
could get your mom
blackmailing
her
her.
job back. Like, that's disgusting. Fuck this
Well,
guy.
But it's
to
logical.
be fair,
No, not to be fair.
there was an arrangement, and T'Pol's trying to back out of it. So
An
Yeah,
arrangement
but, like-
she had...
Go ahead, Chris.
An arrangement she had nothing to do with. Arranged
Yeah.
marriages
That's
are fucked
true.
up.
but that is how they do on Vulcan.
Well,
as
what's
we know.
interesting, something he said, I think, got to a point, I think you made, Jake, a while ago, that this isn't necessarily a universally Vulcan thing.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's just like rich people shit.
Yeah, because even, I think to fiance, I've forgotten his name.
Koss.
Thank you. Koss was like, my family practices the old ways. So it's like, okay, so it sounds like this isn't just something all Vulcans do. It's just the old and well-to-do families.
That kind of makes sense, though. I mean, like, you see that. I feel like you see that a lot in, like, really rich families, like, trying to keep the wealth together and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
It's a good match. We'll make good stock, good breeding stock.
Ugh.
T'Pol's wedding dress was really nice.
It was really nice.
Mm.
Vulcans know how to dress their populace.
They do. I will say, though, like, while I loved the patterns, so many of T'Pol's civilian outfits were just, like, early 2000s ass real-world civilian clothes. It kind of took me out of it here and there.
Only tailored in such a way to accentuate the boobs.
Yeah, and they gave it that, like, Vulcan collar. But aside from that, it was like, that is something you just bought and modified. That is not bespoke.
Bodified.
Eh.
I don't know. I think you'd be surprised on how much like they have their costumers build.
No, I know. But the design itself was just so, like, it really dates the show, you know?
No, but that's fine. I'm
Yeah.
allowed to not understand.
I also liked how T'Pol, she just busts out with the, I'll do the caliphie on you, bitch.
Yeah.
It's like, I imagine, like, that comes up a lot in arguments in Vulcan, like, between Vulcan couples. It's like, oh, someone left the seat up again. Caliphie?
Vulcans definitely use the 3 seashells.
Now, do we
Oh, yeah,
think
for
Tucker
sure.
could take him in a caliphie?
No.
Because it's
No,
not.
absolutely not.
Tucker couldn't take Koss. He's not going through
Koss-
Ponfar.
Yeah, but Koss still has Vulcan strength.
That's
You know
true.
that that's...
Yeah, no, like, Tucker doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who, like, knows any of those use your enemy's strength against them martial arts.
Okay, do we think T'Pol could take Koss?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a desk jockey. She knows Vulcan Krav Maga.
Yeah, she's her own champion. That'd be great.
I'd love that.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I also noted that this is the first depiction of Vulcan cities in live-action Trek, because the only time we've seen it before this was in Yesteryear.
Yesteryear. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They mentioned
I was hoping we'd see a Sellout just hanging out.
Oh,
They don't have that kind of money.
It would be such
Because
bad.
imagine how terrible that would look.
Yeah, the CG.
Yes.
The CG would be
No,
awful.
just get like Jim Henson to build it. You know?
They couldn't afford Jim Henson. Plus, wasn't he making Farscape right now? That would have his company.
I mean, he was dead, but
Yeah,
his
yeah.
company was making
the
Farscape, probably.
conflict of interest. They wouldn't have let him.
Mm.
Now, if modern streaming Trek wanted to pay the Henson people to make them a sellout, I'd be all about it.
There you go.
Aw, friend.
There was something that was bothering me a little bit about Jolene Blaylock this episode. I felt like, I don't know if she was doing a thing, but her performance seemed very stilted.
Was it
throughout
all the emotions she was supposed to be trying to repress?
Yeah, I guess. And maybe it's really hard to do that kind of acting where you're like, I want you to be very emotional, but make it very obvious that you're not emotional, you know? And it just came off as like, it looks like she's constipated the whole time.
Could it also be like when you go home for the first time after a long time and like your accent creeps back in? Maybe it's just some like extra Vulcan stank on her personality because she's been around people so much. But then, she's about to project a little, but as soon as she sees her mom's like, "Oh, you're fat," like, "You never call,"
Yeah, I was expecting Mom to like bust out with a Lysol spray anytime Trip touched something.
That feels like a Lower Decks episode.
Oh my god, and what fucking typical Vulcans never telling you the things that they need to tell you before it's actually relevant, and that, they wake Trip up at 4 a.m. It is customary for the guests to make breakfast at 4 a.m. Trip says, "No one told me this!"
It is customary for the host's child to surprise the guest with a wake-up call at 4 a.m. to fix the morning meal.
Yes, and then Trip goes and makes oatmeal or something. Done!
Tradition.
Fuck it!
Oh, they'd probably like that, though. Like, they're vegetarian. That would probably be up their alley.
It is a very logical breakfast.
Mm.
Very nutritious.
Mm-hmm.
Good for your cholesterol.
I like the implication that rather than refrigerators, Vulcans just put their food into stasis.
Oh, was that a thing?
Well,
I missed that.
We said it was a stasis unit.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, and it's like, fridges exist, right? This seems like overkill.
No,
I bet
that's
you a
great,
stasis
though.
unit
'Cause
works
shit,
better, though.
yeah, for sure. Because in a fridge, your fucking shit goes off in like 2 days. But if you've got a stasis unit, it's good until forever.
Yeah, remember in, the slaver weapon in TAS, they had those stasis boxes where it's like, what is it? Like, literally millions of years later, they open it up and the apple's still fresh. They take a bite.
Yeah.
Yum!
See, I bet you, once he, saved the Enterprise D from the Dyson Sphere, Scotty probably went into business creating transporter buffer food storage. We could just, store everything indefinitely in a transporter buffer.
Yeah.
Except, unless it's half of your crew.
Mm.
Yeah, don't do that.
Ooh.
Yeah, they'd have to put a warrant. It'd be like today where, you're not supposed to, you got to take the doors off a fridge when you throw it out. So a child doesn't climb into it. You'd have to do something like that for transporter buffer. Although that's also not actually even a thing, really, because fridges don't latch. Like, that was the reason why they do that is because old fridges would latch and then you'd get stuck inside. But
Yeah.
modern fridges don't latch.
Smart.
Were the fire fields or whatever, was that a TAS thing too, or am I making that up?
I don't remember.
Because I feel like when she was listing off places they could visit, there was like the fire fields or valley or something, and I wasn't sure if that was...
they went to the Statue Town there. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Statue Town.
Was unclear if that was meant to be the same Statue Town Spock did his Kolinar at, but clearly inspired by it.
Yeah.
Or didn't quite do his Kolinar at, I guess, if we're going to be pedantic, because this is Star
He
Trek,
got
so
the
of course.
necklace. He just gave it away. He just like, you know what? On second thought, fuck it.
The other note on Vulcan that I took down that's kind of cute is Jack Donner, who played the Vulcan priest, whom we see, and we'll see again later, which will be fun. He previously played Sub-Commander Tal way back in TOS's Enterprise incident.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
So good on him coming back after, what would this be, like 30 years?
Something, yeah.
More than that.
I meant to check. I assume that shtick he was doing at the wedding was the same one from
Yes.
Amok Time.
Yeah, sure was.
I assumed it was, but I was like, I meant to go and make sure, and did not.
Also, I find it terribly illogical for them to be blaming Mommy for stuff that they're blaming on T'Pol, but wasn't even T'Pol. It was all Archer.
I mean, this Vulcan government is clearly deeply vindictive.
But that's so not logical. It makes no sense to me.
No,
but who's to say they're logical?
They do all the time.
Well,
yeah, they also
but-
tell us they
Of
don't
course,
lie.
they're going to claim to be.
Yeah, they say they don't lie. They say they only act on logic. Like, clearly these guys are a little spiteful and want someone to pay for it. And it's like, well, we can't touch Archer. We can't touch T'Pol. Next best thing. And here's the thing. If there is one thing Star Trek has shown over the years is that, like, aside from, like, our hero Vulcans do seem to be vindictive bitches.
I don't like it.
I mean, that's fair.
That's how it is.
But I don't think it's unique to Enterprise. Look at fucking Captain Racist Vulcan from DS9.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When individuals are spiteful and vindictive and petty, that's fine because they're characters.
Yeah.
When it's the whole race, when it's like, all of this Vulcan Science Academy decides to drum her out, it's like, that just makes everyone at fault, and I don't like it.
Well, that I think, though, could still just be someone powerful and vindictive within the hierarchy who, can go to the Vulcan Science Academy and be like, we will cut you off. And they have to go, oh, fuck, well, needs of the many. The Vulcan Science Academy needs to exist, so I guess we have to play along with President fuckface of Vulcan or what. Like,
Spork.
Yeah,
Definitely
there we go.
Spork.
Sport.
Yeah, the leader of current Vulcan is D apostrophe Santis.
Okay. In that case, I buy it.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I think you could still argue it not necessarily being a full cultural thing as much as, like, there's clearly just, I think, like with humans, people who end up in power often are just
Shouldn't
awful.
be.
Yeah. Learn corruption. Learn to abuse that power.
Yeah, like, even Vulcans aren't immune to that, which, is fair.
Jerks.
Yeah.
I blame the writers a little bit, too.
Oh, no, also fair. But I do feel like there is precedent that individual Vulcans can, in fact, be assholes, and if one of them gets into a high position, it is not unforeseeable for it to cause issue.
Meh. I lied. I have one more Vulcan note
Go for it.
before we move on to a different plot line. I like that we're going plotline by plotline because it makes my notes make more sense. Apparently, it had been long supposed that Vulcan orbits the real star 40 Eridani.
Oh, really?
Because people just assumed that was the right one. I don't know why, but that was just
Sure.
what was going around in Trek culture at the time. And even though they never, say this outright, they do kind of make reference to it because when, I think it's Trip says, I didn't come 16 light years to watch a fucking wedding, that's how far away 40 Eridani is from Earth.
Fair enough.
So making things canon-ish.
And I forget if I actually said this. I don't think I did in our Blade Runner episode. Tamami is Zora from Blade Runner, the original.
Was she the one with the
Snake.
snake?
Yeah,
Snake
Joanna
lady.
Cassidy.
Oh, word, good for her.
Yeah.
I also read that she auditioned for the role of Janeway.
No,
She did not
shit.
get it.
Yeah.
No.
But I liked her.
I think, they definitely made the right choice, but I could see Joanna Cassidy working there as well.
Okay, which plotline do you want to move to next? They're both bad.
So the racism one.
They're both
short.
racist.
Well, yes, but the Phlox racism one. This really just goes to prove, you see so much in spaces today still where, bad people knee-jerk, dogpile on a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, there's legitimate, right now, racists are losing their mind because there's going to be a black character in the next Assassin's Creed game, which is set
How dare they?
which is set in like late 19th century, I want to say, Japan. And he's based on a real black dude that lived in Japan at the time.
Ah.
You know, but they're like, black guy in Japan, dur. It's like, guys, there are so many legitimate reasons to hate Ubisoft. Like, the fact their games are increasingly just designed to try to get extra money out of you. The fact that in an industry known for toxic workplaces, it is one of the worst. Like, you're keeping people from having legitimate conversations about how bad Ubisoft is because of this. And similarly, these guys, like, guys, if you got to know him, you would understand. There are so many legitimate reasons to hate Phlox. And it's not because he's an alien. It's because he is a genocidal, celery-stealing prick.
And look, did you see that face? So
That
puffy.
was wild. I knew that it was coming eventually, but I wasn't ready.
Yeah, I kind of, like, I've seen that screenshot a lot, and it's, you know, obviously often used for, like, comedic effect, and I forgot it's actually the result of, like, a kind of serious scene.
It's a threat response, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I was wondering if, like, spikes were gonna fly out or something, but it seems to just be a make yourself look big so they go away mechanism and not anything
like
else.
A pufferfish.
I was gonna say, like a kitty.
No, like
Kitties have claws, Chris.
True. Well, he's got those toes. I bet.
I was gonna say, those toenails could probably do some damage.
I bet if he didn't trim them as much as he did, they would fucking hurt.
He trims. Oh yeah, we've seen him trim them, and
Yeah,
oh,
to
fucking
feed
God.
the animals.
Oh
Ugh.
my fucking God, I hate this man.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong with Phlox.
Well, okay. Let's see. We're falling down the wrong path here. He cannot help his anatomy. The writers can help his anatomy, and fuck
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost made for a joke that he does the face puff thing when, you know, racism against other people is a serious issue.
Yeah.
And I think it's entirely upended by his conversation with Hoshi, you know, a woman of Japanese descent who's probably experienced this kind of thing in America.
Well, and again, too, like, this is still, you know, this is what, 2004?
Yes.
5? We're still, you know, smack dab in the middle of reactionary post 9/11. I mean, we're still, you know what I mean? This is the immediate aftermath still.
Yeah.
You know, and I imagine if I was an Arab American watching this at the time, I'd be like, hey, fuck you, Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, the racists are depicted as being bad. Like, it's not like they're...
Well, yes, but then to have Phlox be like, I kind of get it. It's like, Phlox, no. Don't kind of get it.
Hoshi makes a great point when she says it's more important than ever now for aliens' faces to be seen as, you know, individuals and people who aren't here to harm you. And these, like, everyone should not be lumped together. And she says this, and fucking Phlox says, no, I don't want my face to look like that again, so I'm gonna stay up here.
Also, you want the spokesperson for, like, don't hate all aliens to be Phlox?
But it's better than no one.
It would have the opposite effect. I'd be like, wow, aliens suck more than I realized.
Send to Paul out there. Racists are always horny.
Oh, wow.
I was just gonna
but then they'd make weird Vulcan porn.
They already
like, they're
do.
not already?
Well, that's true.
That I will say was another thing. Is like, this is a thing where I don't know. Like, because, you know, again, I'm a white guy. I could just kind of go anywhere and feel pretty good. Like, while I disagree with what Phlox said, I don't know. I'd like to actually hear, like, the opinion of someone who, you know, is not in the majority, be like, you know, especially when things are heated, like, yeah, it's good to be seen, but at the same time, how much danger are you putting yourself in? So
You got Mayweather with his guns. You'll be fine.
Well, yes, Phlox does, but, like, what I mean is, you know, like, I don't know, again, what the argument is. You know, I'm sure there's been reams of ink spilled over it, and unfortunately, I just don't know. Like, I could see, like, if his reaction was just less, like, they're right to be afraid, and was more, I get your point, Hoshi, but Mayweather won't always be there to protect me.
That's much better.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, or I personally need some time.
Yeah, or that, you know, because, like, I could see, like, some folks who are from groups that are oppressed might be like, yeah, you know, I am going to put myself out there and fuck you and come at me, bro, or whatever. But I feel like probably, again, I am not speaking from experience, it's also, I feel like, perfectly legitimate to be like, I don't want to put myself in danger. And I feel like that's something, again, that Hoshi, should again, we're supposed to be in a post-racial Earth, even though this episode proves that's not true, like, should maybe be aware of, like, just being like, yeah, put yourself out there, as opposed to, like, if you're comfortable, put yourself out there.
Well, then it becomes a conversation, because, she could even be because, she hasn't been home this whole time either. She hasn't seen what happened down there. She's stuck in sickbay with her brain thing.
Yeah.
Hearing everything second or third hand. And Phlox has to, like, tell her, no, Hoshi, that's not what it's like. I think the writers went about it the wrong fucking way.
Oh, completely. And I guarantee it was all a bunch of white dude writers. Like, that scene written by people who, were actually had been in that position would have been much, much better.
I'd like to see that scene.
Yeah. It's kind of a shame that we got this instead.
Archer got some.
Ugh. Unfortunately.
Age appropriate, even.
That
was
was
nice.
impressed by that.
I liked her well
that.
enough.
Yeah, I'd say she could do so much better. I do not know what she sees in John.
Oh, I don't know.
It was funny to me, like, he's all, like, mopey and
broken,
brooding and angry.
Maybe that's what she likes.
And then he gets laid, and then he's all, like, jolly the next day. Like, yeah, let's go for a mountain hike.
Oh, that
like,
yeah.
Boy, that cleared you up
you're right.
good there, John.
What a mystery.
Oh, God.
Well, it's interesting how all this guilt and shame that he's been feeling is, all you need is a little...
Maybe he's only really been feeling guilt and shame because of how much he's been playing with his wiener instead of letting a pretty girl do it.
Maybe.
Did you ever think of that?
Probably it.
Yep.
Gotta be.
He's all backed up, yeah.
Pretty girl.
Well, because we know that he doesn't actually feel bad about the torture.
No.
I mean...
I'm glad they brought it up.
He loved the torture.
Even if, he still believes, like, the ends justified the means and everything, but it's still something he thinks about, which is good.
Yeah, that's the problem, is, like, on the one hand, it's like, okay, so John finally understands he did bad things, took him long enough.
Right.
But then it's completely undercut by the committee being like, Like, no one even said, by the way, did you ever send help to those people you pirated?
Oh, absolutely not.
No.
He sent a missile after them.
Yeah. I will say, while most of Saval's questions were logical, there was one that Archer could have had a legitimate answer for that he didn't use because he was too busy being angry. Which was, Saval was like, oh, I mean, T'Pol was on there. It's like, yeah, for like a few hours, not months. That's, come on, Val, you're a scientist. Or at least you have scientists.
But that also is kind of undercut by the fact that she's been smoking Trillium for months and is recovered.
Well, yeah, but presumably they didn't tell them that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, I don't even think John knows that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, does Archer even know?
Oh,
or
wow.
is Phlox the only one?
So Phlox actually did do the doctor-patient confidentiality thing this time?
Because she threatened him.
He respected
and he puffed
HIPAA.
up.
Yeah, but also there was a moment in the questioning that Archer throws into Saval's face. Oh, the Andorians were more helpful than the Vulcans. It's like, yeah, because the Vulcans can't go here. And the Vulcans, as they were trying to dissuade you from going in the first place, were doing the logical thing because they thought that you would fucking get killed immediately, which you almost did many times.
Well, now, on the one hand, the Vulcans don't know they can't go there until John gives them the report on the Trillium.
Yeah, but they know...
They just know that the ships disappeared.
Yeah, they know the 2 out of 2 times that they've sent ships there, things have gone upside down.
Yes, but also, on the other hand, the Andorians initially were only helping for their own ends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, they did at the end show up later to be like, we're here magically to actually help. But I feel
just
like that,
to make
therefore,
the fans wank.
It all cancels each other out, the like, we came for shitty reasons, we came for good
conquered.
reasons. Zero-sum game, John.
Johnny boy.
I don't know. I'm still on Soval's side because Archer just... It's a questioning. Like, because you don't have answers to some of these questions, like, could you have not destroyed the Saleya? Which I always assumed they did that on purpose, and apparently now it's an accident?
I don't remember the episode well enough anymore.
I remember us saying that they did it on purpose, that they set it to self-destruct for some reason, but maybe we misunderstood when that was happening.
He just fudged it in his log, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think rather than, John goes camping and gets laid, maybe it just should have actually been the debriefing and people being horrified by what he did instead of being like, good job.
Not in this show.
I know.
Not in this show where we reward Archer with, like, naming schools after him and shit.
Several of
I
dozens.
do think that they were making that point, that, like, he doesn't feel like a hero because of all the things that he did.
Well, also, he lost 27 people, which I think is the other thing on his mind. Now we have a firm death count. Exactly. It was 27.
It's sort of, between feeling shitty about the people that died and then feeling guilty about the stuff that he felt he had to do, getting school named after him probably.
Mm-hmm. That big hero's welcome it looked like a Wii Sports arena.
That is unfair
CGI
to Wii
background.
Sports arenas.
Also, I realize now it's unclear if Sim counts in that 27, and I bet he doesn't.
But yeah, I was thinking that myself. Yeah, that arena was weird, because, like...
Oh, so bad.
It's this... even just the badness of it aside, it is this enormous building, and it looks like they're just... Like, I'm fascinated by what exactly it's used for. Like, it seems like the top is sort of an arena. They're clearly on the roof, and there's a big-ass building, so, like... Is it a couple of different sports? Like, the top, they do certain things, and inside there's, like, a water polo.
Maybe it's kind of an omni sports arena where you could put anything in there if you wanted to. It was also incredibly, incredibly clear that they were filming the actors indoors while this whole thing was supposed to take place outdoors.
Yeah, and like this, it was so awkwardly filmed. Like the shot where they're like walking up and shaking hands with the brass.
I thought at first that we were starting this episode with a dream sequence because it looked so fake.
I mean, it wasn't just that it was fake. It was like the way that the actors were directed. They always kind of like sauntering around looking confused, which I thought was an interesting choice.
The design of the stage makes no sense. And again, this is a stage that was 100% in a computer. They weren't constrained by a real location for this. Why is the shuttle landing pad between the audience and the stage instead of behind the stage?
So, because you have to see them come out, enter the stage.
Yeah, I assumed that would be for
but that's the
effect.
You could have easily had like them land on a little thing in the back and like climb down some stairs or something. Like they even show at one point when Archer's looking over the crowd. Like his point of view is the crowd with the shuttle just between him and a chunk of the crowd. It's like, what?
Yeah.
No, my next note is, and Archer decided to do no acting during his speech.
Yeah. Maybe who
Not
directed
great.
this one? This is one of our standbys, or because
I'm sure it's one of the standbys.
Bakula doesn't decide when to act. It comes into him as it will, you know?
Yeah, like his very first scene with Erica when she like comes up to, is it at the bar she comes up to him or something?
Yeah.
And he looks over with absolutely no like recognition on his face,
Yeah.
or oh hey Erica, or hey it's you, or what are you doing here?
Are we supposed to imagine that he's just like really shell shocked from everything that's happened? Because I would say that like the way that he freaks out at Saval, like while not completely out of character, did seem like a pretty quick escalation, and so maybe he's just kind of PTSD'd, you know?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they were going for, but I don't think Bakula was.
Yeah, it's no excuse for the bad acting.
Holy shit.
Well, Bakula being your lead is the excuse for the bad acting, and you've no one to blame but yourself if you cast him.
They had no alternatives either.
I'm not going to blame the director. It's Alan Croker, who has done a shitload of DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise. Specifically, though, what stood out to me right away, Children of Time.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, no, a lot of good episodes on his, Oh, fuck, Year of Hell.
I think it's Craker. I think when there's an O and an E, it's usually an A.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like in Koenig.
When it's what? Oh, OE?
Yeah.
Well, it's basically, that is a German name. That would, when it would be, in German, it would be KO with an umlaut.
Yeah.
And it usually suggests sort of an sound.
Yeah.
So what about the supermarket?
Yeah,
Burger?
that probably
Kroger?
had been Krager once, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, kind of like Walter Koenig was probably Walter Koenig once upon a time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, I
his-
realized this first last week when we were doing the Nazi episode, and I was just listening to a review because I play them using a little read out loud function in Microsoft Edge, which for some reason has the best read out loud function of all of them, which is absurd.
Well, Edge had to have something good. It was bound to happen eventually.
And it reads, J. Paul. What I've been saying, J. Paul Boehmer. It says J. Paul Boehmer. I'm like, oh yeah, that is probably how you say that.
Yeah, that's true.
My bad.
Oh.
Although to his not credit, he also directs the series finale of Enterprise, it turns out. So, but he didn't write it.
They just assign people things. So.
No, I know.
We'll have to see if it's at least well directed.
It's a living.
Mm-hmm.
There is a comment someone makes, and I didn't write down who it was, that since the attack on Florida, there's been a steep uptick in marriages and births.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Which I can understand the marriage thing. It's like, oh no, if we think we might get killed by aliens, let's get it over with now, and let's, it's all for love, and if we die soon, at least we're together, kind of a thing. The births I don't get, especially in a world where I'm certain abortions are like you can download from your computer.
You just beam it out.
Yeah. Because people wouldn't want to introduce new life if they don't think the planet will survive.
Yeah.
Well, but on the other hand, they might be thinking, we could all die tomorrow, and I've always wanted a family.
If your family starts tomorrow, your family's gonna die in a day.
Maybe if there's like a planet-wide evacuation, they'll take people with kids first.
Ah, it's selfish. I get it.
The cynics version. I like that.
Billy Zane runs up with a kiddie stole to be like, please take me.
Yep.
I think this is a thing that really happens, though. I think that in the wake of disasters, it's not at all uncommon for populations to go through a lot of
Well, right. In the real world, yes. But this is, again, a fictional world where the threat is literally the entire planet is going to be vaporized.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between in the wake of tragedy or when tragedy is incoming.
Yeah.
I mean, not to continue to argue, but I mean, we're undergoing major changes in our climate, which is going to lead to catastrophe, and people keep having babies.
Yeah, the people
life just keeps on lifing. I
mean, the thing is, though, birth rates are plummeting.
Well, that's because everything's terrible.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. It's kind of to the point. People are like, what's the point?
Yeah, there is a huge argument among the child-free people that one of the major reasons that they don't want to have kids is they don't want to introduce them to this world. Whilst the people who have more and more kids are often people who don't see the climate change as a threat to them.
Fair enough. I'm just saying I think it is a real world thing that, like, even in times like this, that you do see a lot of birth. But like, I'm sure post 9/11 there were shitloads of babies, and we all thought the world was going to end any second then. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
It would be interesting to see the data from then, yeah.
Well, I mean, especially because that's literally the time they're emulating. So, maybe after 9/11 there was a huge uptick in births, and they were like, "Well, we could use that."
I also wonder if it's where there's births, because I've been following along. There's a lot of great articles in National Geographic about where populations are growing like exponentially and where they're dropping. Like China's in the negatives right now, which is fascinating. Whilst
That's
Nigeria
funny.
is going to
Not
become
funny,
like one of the most populous countries on the planet pretty soon.
I believe so. There's like a correlation between like the prosperity of a country and like an inverse correlation between the prosperity of a country and its birth rate.
Mm-hmm.
Like the richer a country gets, the lower its fertility rate.
Well, the richer countries have better contraception.
They have better contraception and like economic stability.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also argue that richer countries also have policies that are, what's the word? Contrary. Part of the way they got so rich was having policies that are contrary to having a family. Like you look at America, and Japan, I know, both have desperately plummeting birth rates. And they are two countries where it is very hard to have a family because it is really expensive. It's impossible to have, like, a single income home anymore. You know, back in the day, it was easier because, yeah, someone had a paid job and then someone else had the job of being the home, you know, the homemaker.
Yeah, you can't survive with one income like that.
Yeah, but then to afford daycare is almost impossible. So, like, you know, I'm sure there are a lot of people in this country that would love to have kids that just can't afford it. And it's, you know, partially because we have these policies that are so pro business and pro, like, profit and pro this, that, and the every other thing that the ordinary person just cannot afford to have a kid. You know, and the same people who are voting for these predatory policies are also screaming, why is our population dropping? Why the fuck do you think, you fucking puzzle wit?
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic.
Capitalism is a disease.
What's going on?
The dog agrees with me on capitalism.
Smart dog. Yeah, so the opposite argument that Archer keeps making, it, you know, in opposition to his, I feel bad about all the war crimes and, you know, I want to get back to exploring is, but wait, Hernandez, you have to include 25 Makos on your crew.
Yeah.
I'll name them specifically because, you know, when you're out there, you never know, you know, like if you're going to run across an hostile race.
Bring McCarthy or whatever her name is.
Oh, yeah.
Was it McCarthy?
I
The one
don't
Hayes
remember.
was like, take her, and then we never see her again.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like they were sort of trying to explain in retrospect why it is, like, you know, Starfleet ships are so fucking well armed. And it's like, you don't really need to explain. We get that you have certain ideals, but we've also met
Klingons and
other, yeah, like sometimes.
But also, like, imagine going out into a vast unknown and, like, not
Yeah.
at least having something. I mean,
right,
Well, that
yeah,
thing is,
like if you go into the woods, you want to bring like a sharp stick with you at least.
Yeah, well, I think that's the sort of thing is like they went out with a sharp stick and realized they should have brought a gun.
Yes, a bazooka.
you brought a sharp stick to a gunfight.
God damn it, Squall.
Idiot.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the Teddy Roosevelt school of diplomacy, you know.
Yeah, but again, I feel like the show already established this in fucking TOS. Like, it's not inherently contradictory because, yeah, sometimes you're going to meet people who will not talk to you no matter how hard you Starfleet at them.
Mm.
And
Well, in
sometimes...
that case, there's yet another argument that Archer makes that he's just making every argument that the writers could think of, even if most of them don't go together, in that if we'd never gone to space in the first place, the Xindi wouldn't have thought there was a threat and they wouldn't have done anything to Florida in the first place. It's like, where did this one come from?
I mean, that was what the racists were
Yeah.
arguing, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
John
I
would
mean,
love
it's probably, on the one hand, it's probably true. On the other hand, Florida's a small price to pay for space exploration.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think really Archer just needs some counseling and they don't have...
But nope, next week we're sending him on a new mission.
That's
And maybe
actually...
some more sex he should get, too. That seems to be working for him.
That, I know we've been talking about this episode for a long ass time, but one last thing before we move on. It is a shame that we won't get more, like, I don't think we do anyway, but, like, I would have been a little more interested in seeing more time of Trip dealing with the fact that, yeah, he's back at Earth, but he doesn't really have a home, you know? His sister and his town are gone, and it's
nope, instead they decided to send him home for some, like, look who's coming to dinner hijinks or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, what, like, that would have been
Who's coming to
interesting.
breakfast that he has to make himself.
Because this was the guy who a few weeks ago was joking about, you know, going back to Earth and spending every week on a different beach. But now he's actually back to Earth and is like, I don't belong here anymore. And what a tragic thing. And we're never going to give that the attention it deserves, I think, and I'm pretty sure. Like,
Well, it's because we got the two dollies and we have to smash them together.
Yeah.
So are we still going to smash those dolls together now that they're married? Now that she's married?
We'll have to wait and see.
Well, I can't wait to find out.
Because already Koss has basically said, like, oh yeah, we're technically married and that fulfills the obligations and you can go off on the Enterprise and, you know, I'll be here.
I'm sure he doesn't even care if she bangs whoever she wants.
Probably not.
I don't think that's a big priority for him.
Yeah. I feel like this is just about getting these although normally when you want to get two families together, you do want there to be offspring eventually.
Oh yeah, they'll deal with that down the road, I'm sure.
Yeah.
True.
She's got years left. She's fine.
That motherfucker.
Yeah, she's only 60, so
Yeah.
Really a spring chicken. Still.
Yeah, prime birthing years.
You know what it is too? The guy has big shoulders, big head, like they're secretly Staun's grandparents, aren't they?
Yeah.
He's got a bit of Staun about him.
The bit of the Neanderthal.
Mm.
One more minor note before we move on, just because I thought this was stupid. It was a dumb joke. And that Phlox has, like, armfuls of luggage to go down to visit Earth. And Reed says, oh, can I help you with that? And Phlox unloads, like, way more luggage than he needs to on Reed. And he's left carrying, like, 2 things.
I didn't notice that, but that feels very Phlox.
I thought it was very Phlox.
Congratulations to the
when
writers.
Reed said he only had one hand, Phlox relieved him of his cookies and ate them while he made Reed carry his shit. My pineapple cake.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, speaking of people with big square heads, let's move on to augments. Not augments, what's it frickin' called? Borderland. Because, oh boy, all these augment kids. Yikes.
Oh, I hate them.
They are ugly, aren't they?
They're not. They're supposed to be like 18 or 19 years old, and they're all played by 30-year-olds, and not even. We'll get to this. Borderland. Let's talk about it, guys. Here's a quick-ish synopsis. Oh boy, we have yet another iteration of Klingon J.G. Hertzler flying around, and I
Okay, that is who
loved
that
it.
was.
Of course it was. When you need a Klingon captain, you just call Martok, and he's usually up for it. When, oh no, some humans that he captured totally wharf the whole crew. In some really fun fight choreography. Note,
Yeah, it's
I have a
true.
good note on that. This was a winner of an Emmy in stunt coordination. It looked good.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'll give them that. The fights were well done.
The fights were well done, and the augments, they take over this fucking ship like it was bread, toast, something.
A hot night through butter?
Taking over
A
a
hot night, yeah, there
chip
you
like
go.
toast?
like a cat in a wet paper bag. I don't know. And we learn that these are the augments, much like Khan was. Neat. And for some reason, it's Archer's job to go deal with this before the Klingons spark war with Earth. So he goes and meets up with yet another iteration of mad scientist Brent Spiner. This is Eric Sung. Of course it is. And we learn that he had stolen 19 augment embryos like 20 years ago, augmented them for good measure, because they could always use more augmenting,
Fucking songs.
and he raised them until he was imprisoned for it, which apparently was 10 years ago, according to this timeline I found, to try to figure out how old these fucking kids were supposed to be. And it's definitely younger than they present as. So, we're off on a field trip to the Borderland between Klingon and Orion space, the safest place in space. And almost fucking immediately, some Orions kidnap 9 people from the crew and put them on the slave market, including T'Pol, who makes the slavers just a ton of fucking quatloos. Meanwhile, the Augment kids are basically in their own little show on the CW, and this
Yeah,
pissant
they fucking
Malik, he wants to overthrow their leader Rakin? Rakeen? Thank you, Jake. Rakeen. And Rakeen's little girlfriend Persis is there to stir shit up until Malik finally kills Rakeen. And it's all such fucking teen drama in these weirdly shredded costumes, which I did not like. But we'll get back to these hormone factories of children later. Back at Slave Market, Archer forces Sung to help get his crew members back, and they buy off Ensign Pierce for super cheap because he's such a twerp.
Poor Pierce.
Oh god, this poor guy. How did he live on the Enterprise? He must be new. He
He is new. He says he just
Yeah.
got assigned.
That makes sense, because there's no way he survived the Expanse.
Yeah, no, he's fresh out of the academy, this kid.
Good, that makes sense. And the Phlox and Sung and whoever else is around, they study this neurolytic restraint that they stuck in his neck. And they figure out a way to deactivate all the prisoners' restraint and cause a jailbreak. And in the chaos of this jailbreak, Sung gets away long enough to send out a signal until Archer yoinks him back again. Yoink! We get all the crew members back, happy day, but alas! Orion's ho! And they're here to fuck shit up, but oh no, even more alas! Klingons ho! And we learn that the Klingon ship that the Augment kids stole scares off these Orions, and Sung has alerted them with his augment chip, and his children come rescue him, which they do very fucking easily, even though the Makos were supposed to be there helping.
Oh, they got bitched.
Super
As
bitched.
usual.
And off they go to conquer the galaxy or something in part 2 of this arc, which we'll be not getting to today because fucking Enterprise decides everything's a 3-parter from now on. The end.
Basically.
Yeah, a show that has completely ignored its own past is suddenly like, we're serialized now. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay, so here's what I hated the most about this episode.
Was it the Augment Kids?
Was
Yes.
it Brent Spiner
Yes.
showing up again?
He
No.
was great in this.
He was, but damn.
He was having fun. Also, keep in mind, this is pre-Paramount Plus days. We hadn't seen him as much yet. This was
Right.
novel.
Yeah, I mean, this is really like
The
let's see,
start of
this-
that.
Yeah, this is like his third distinct iteration.
Well, fifth.
I'm gonna
The
lump
3
together.
androids.
I'm gonna lump the androids together since they were all like, because it makes sense that they are all looking
Fair.
like Brent Spiner.
Fair.
And it
but
makes
yeah,
sense
this-
that they look like Sung, because Sung is a selfish prick.
Yeah. So really, this is only the second human iteration of Sung that we
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. I was going to say, the personality-wise, though, the 3 androids are distinct.
Yeah, true. Yeah. No, I know they're different people, but
Yeah, no,
I'm talking about like what makes sense in terms of why these people look
Yes.
the same.
Yeah,
No,
they're all
that
the same
you're-
design. It makes sense.
Yes, the androids should look alike. That is true.
I have a fascinating
Wait.
backstory on the what?
Very brief. I didn't actually get to the point I wanted to make.
Oh,
The augment kids, what I hated about, especially like Malik and Rakeen, it really feels like their direction was watch Wrath of Khan
Mm.
and then be a weird mix of Montalban and his sidekick.
mm.
Like, it just felt like they were all trying to be those characters instead of distinct characters, and I hated it.
Yeah. It was an odd choice.
Oh,
I
and
also something I thought was very weird was that so Rakeen and Malik they call each other brothers. I mean, obviously they're not. They're just from the same pool of
embryo patch.
embryos.
yeah.
But they're brothers. Well, by that logic, Persis is their sister,
Oh, God, you're right.
and they're all banging her. So, what's the deal? Maybe they're all banging each other. Maybe that's just how they roll.
This is the problem with the prevalence of internet porn.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just one like massive orgy on their little planet.
God, imagine an orgy with 19 people who are perfectly engineered, ridiculously strong and powerful, and supposed to be like outrageously beautiful. What a
But
gorgeous,
that was something
what
that
a
bothered me, is
gorgeous
that none of
orgy
these-
that would be.
None of these the actor choices here were odd to me because they all just kind of looked plain. Why weren't they very attractive?
Well, I
Persis
think
was pretty enough.
It was
They-
fine.
they were
I
going
thought
for...
the Asian guy was like the one that was like, okay, that's a pretty man.
Saul.
I mean, they wanted this like very particular, like the thing is that the two sort of main guys, Rakin and Malik, were very much that's like I could see them in an ad selling me perfume, you know, like
Mm.
it's a very particular, very chiseled square look that, you know, like no offense to them, plenty of people do go for that. Not my cup of tea. But I think in a very specific magazine way, they are extraordinarily handsome.
You know what they are?
Disagree.
They are cover of romance novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely Rakeen.
Yeah, see, Rakeen does look a bit like
Fabio?
I was going to say Yakum from Tuvok,
Oh yeah,
in that
definitely.
he's got that chiseled look. While Malik just looked bulbous to me, like he had this big, he had a massive forehead. This kid, and the mullet did
Poor
not
kid.
suit him.
No one can pull off a mullet. I've never seen anyone on God's green earth pull off a mullet.
I have
No.
Liar.
no.
Also, was Persis named after Persis Kambata? Because that's a weird
I was
choice.
just gonna ask that because I was like, oh, that's a conspicuous name.
Yeah.
And since like, you know, we have this history of the augments, you know, or the Clone Wars, the Eugenics Wars people, you know, being Indian, like with
Yeah.
Khan.
Khan, like were they trying to like do a subtle nod to Persis Kambata?
Yeah. Yeah, it stuck out to me, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that this was, now that Manny Koto is basically in charge of Enterprise, his goal season 4 was to create those links that, you can see, like, this is where TOS is going to come from. So he's finding all these little bits, like, Orions, augments, all these things to, like, link it up so that it will make sense when we get to TOS in 100 years.
I will say I didn't need the augments, Manny.
No, I didn't.
I didn't need these augments, so...
Well, it's like the whole idea was like when Kirk finds them, it's like, oh yeah, this weird thing from our past that also Jonathan Archer ran into less than a century ago. Like, if anything, I feel like it takes away from Space Seed than adding to it.
That's a good point. Unless they wrote all of it under the rug.
I think the difference is in Space Seed, it's like they're just coming upon like the actual people from the Clone Wars. Whereas this one is, this is like Starfleet being fucking stupid and not just destroying the embryos. Like why are we keeping these superhuman embryos around if it's so fucking illegal for them to exist?
Starfleet's shady sometimes.
Yeah, it's like remember obviously. Is it in Extinction that Archer decides to keep whatever the evolution disease is?
Yep.
And he's like, oh, I'll keep this, because otherwise we'd lose this culture. It's like, that's a disease. That's a disease, Archer. Destroy it.
And I'm not even going to invoke Section 31. Starfleet in general, like, Soong is like, oh yeah, they take my papers away and burn them every few months. Burn them my ass.
Yeah,
they are scanned and they are being looked at right away. Starfleet is ready with super soldiers if they ever really need them.
I did love...
They should make some of them Makos.
Yeah. I love the lining of Soong's walls with paper. I felt that was a very, like, tactile, like, look for it, and I loved seeing that.
Well,
I thought that was cool, too.
He can't be trusted with anything with a circuit, apparently.
Which is great. I do like... Which fucking Soong is this again?
Eric
Soong. All the fucking Soongs after this all begin with A, and it breaks my brain a little bit, so I'm going to get them confused, and I apologize. Eric Soong is this one, and that he is just Brent Spiner at full ham, and I enjoy him thoroughly, which makes me surprised to learn, and this was the story I was going to tell, that originally this character wasn't going to be a Soong, and that Manny Koto's idea was to take that character from way back in The Savage Curtain, who was technically like a fake character in that, Colonel Green.
Yes.
Which also makes sense, but when they realized, but we've got Brent wants in, can we find a way to make Brent in this? And he did, which I'm also fine with.
Well, Manny will get his wish. Don't worry.
Can we see Colonel Green later?
No comment.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, he is clearly having the fucking time of his life, and that makes weird fan service way more palatable.
Yeah, and it also makes it fun to watch, because you can tell Brent is enjoying this, instead of like someone like, last episode, Archer, who seems pissy and not acting. And it's like, why are you even doing any of this, man?
You know what I will also give this episode? Because this, again, like, older Trek has never been great with women in general, but I feel like this series somehow is even worse.
They've backpedaled a lot. We used to have Captain Janeway, and now, fuck you.
I give them credit, though, that the Orions just stole 9 random crew members and not just all women.
Did I miss a moment where Enterprise could have said put shields up, or did they not fucking bother?
They don't have shields.
They don't have shields. They can
polarize the
hull plating, but they don't have energy shields.
They don't have
that would block
shields.
A transporter.
I never realized that before.
Yeah,
they only had shields in Twilight because
it was the future.
Yeah, and because Shran hooked it up.
Oh, okay. That makes sense to me now. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the thing. They are always vulnerable to transporter kidnappings.
Okay, I like that then. Because for a hot second, I was like, how did they fucking steal 9 people so easily? It's like, no, that makes sense, because it's early days, Voyager, fuck me, Enterprise.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and
I'm guessing, like, the Orions were just like, okay, we'll lock onto the first 9 life signs that we got, that we can, and, like, they weren't specifically targeting anybody.
Yeah, because no one would target Pierce.
Right.
Poor Pierce. But yeah, like, just, but again, especially this show, like, I could see it being just all women, and it's literally all just about the sex trade. Whereas this is just like, no, we're just going to grab random people for different reasons, It's obvious what that Tellarite wants poor T'Pol for.
Manual labor.
Yes. She is strong.
Mhm.
It was hilarious. Poor Jolene Blalock just getting carried around by
the Big Show?
Big Show.
I love it. He's so big.
He is. But the fucking face she's making when he's like shaking her, she's just like, ugh.
This. Fine. I don't even have to try to look hot to be like, everyone knows already I'm hot.
Yeah, the whole slave auction thing was kind of uncomfortable.
That's the
I
point.
guess that's the point.
I should hope it fucking is. God,
they noticed that there were some Tellarites there bidding.
Yep.
Well, yeah, again, a Tellarite got T'Pol specifically.
Yeah. But yeah, like what? Like, okay, so we're told that the Orion women are insatiable.
And
Yeah,
naturally,
we've known that literally since the first episode of Star Trek.
Mm.
Well, who's bidding on T'Pol then? Like, she's not gonna be cooperative. She's not.
Maybe that's what they want.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's definitely
that fucking
feature.
Tellarite.
A feature, not a
Bug.
for some people.
Oh, if they wanted to make it really gross, they could have had her won by an Andorian.
Oh, you're right. Thank God they didn't. Now I'm just imagining the Tellarite just actually really wants a science officer.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I know Vulcans technically
gross.
smart.
Yes. Nothing gross. Let's make it nothing gross.
Let's please.
He's actually just like, hello. I locked myself out of my computer. Can you help? She's like, what?
It's a great Tellarite voice. I like that one.
Thank you.
Oh, I missed one note. Speaking of all the sexism, I missed a note in Home. And that's that there were fans, fucking moron fans, I hate them so much, that objected to Hernandez being the captain of the Columbia because, of course, this takes place before Turnabout Intruder, where we learn that women can't be captains. And fuck these fans.
So here's what happens. It turns out that she's just such a bad captain that they banned women after her.
She was just doing an archer.
Guys, I hate to do this because I railed against it, but Temporal Cold War. Turnabout Intruder.
Also, maybe we don't need
exist.
to take. Maybe we don't need to take
or that
Turnabout Intruder as literally as because A, terrible episode.
Yes.
B, TOS, which frequently has been decanonized for various reasons, and also she was a woman with an axe to grind, and like maybe she's like being metaphorical about it. I
liked our old fan theory that they just told Janice Lester this because she sucked in particular.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, who knows?
And like I think the interpretation I've heard some people use, which again, I mean, the most obvious thing is just stop treating every little word from every show as 100% canon. That's the most obvious counter argument. But the other one is like, maybe, it's not that women can't be captains, but unfortunately there's still like a preponderance of men for reasons that are still kind of old and rooted in sexism that they're still trying to overcome.
Yeah, we saw First Flight where it was just a boys' club.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But again, the most obvious one is, it's a TV show, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, this story is better. Whenever we break canon specifically and it's better, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Like, there's certain things I love TOS, there's certain things I'm very happy to say never happened from it. Like that line.
Yeah. Or that whole episode, why not?
Yeah, it wasn't a great
episode.
Why not? What is it Fry says? 80 episodes, about 30 good ones?
Yeah.
It's like, he's not wrong.
Yeah, literally.
And I say this as someone who loves that show.
Yeah, I think we've named the 30 good ones before.
Oh. I do like that Pierce lived. I definitely thought they were going to redshirt him.
Oh, good. Yeah. I think, are we done killing people? Maybe we're just done killing people now that season 3 is over.
No. No, because that's the thing. Like, killing red shirts is a celebrated...
It's a tradition.
Pastime in Star Trek.
If Manny's trying to go back to our roots, then, ooh, I'm here for it.
If I was a better, if I had any sense of musicality, I would definitely write a song about killing red shirts based on tradition from Fiddler on the Roof. Oh, actually, something that was incredibly stupid, though. Like, it feels like they had 2 different drafts and then forgot to make them align. Because when they're doing the little debriefing, It's like Cold Station 12. It's like, oh, that place where they store all those infectious diseases. And Archer goes, yeah, and also embryos from the eugenics wars. And people react like, what? He's like, yeah, it was kept secret. And then immediately Travis goes, he never did say at his trial what he did with those embryos. It's like, were the fact that there were embryos there a secret, or was it part of his trial?
Yeah,
Those
that's a good inconsistency.
That's
Weird.
a major
Yeah,
inconsistency.
Unless like the story in the public was that Soong had just created those embryos.
Maybe.
With his
Like
own
he-
sperm? But then they'd look like Brent Spiner.
Oh, well,
Well,
that's
that's
what he
good
wants.
because that means we can keep bringing him back
Yay!
for more and more episodes.
That's because of that was the reason for the extra genetic tinkering, so they wouldn't all be him.
Mm.
That's not what a Soong would do. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, it's just that we didn't have they didn't have the CG at the time to
Yeah.
make a crew of all Brent Spiners actually work.
Today, though, let's do it.
Oh man, can you imagine like if they had like a like Persis, like they had the female version, but it was still just Brent Spiner.
Oh, like in
Yeah.
Fistful of Datas.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe not as goofy, but
Oh, I also hated their outfits.
I hated them so much.
yeah,
They're
it
so
was so
impractical.
stupid. Wait,
Tactical tearing. Like, I get that you're trying to make the clothes look ratty, but this isn't how clothes rat.
No, it's
they just
really
looked
not.
Like, they looked like they were like Abercrombie models, you know?
Yeah,
like,
and
this is
that-
going to be some new style.
That all just added to Ames, your point. It just everything about them feels like a CW WB teen drama, except with
Yeah.
knives.
Yeah, and not at all interesting. The fight
No,
choreo
God,
was
no.
great, but the
True.
rest of them, I'm like, I'm so done with these people.
Yeah, no, I want them all to just be killed.
It does seem like this episode is a perfect setup for a teen drama spin-off series about the augments.
Ugh.
Augment High.
I will. Okay, that as long as it's Lord and Miller.
Could we do Augment Academy? Because then it's got nice alliteration.
Yeah, that's true.
Ooh, there
It
you
might
go.
not sound right, but it looks right.
I meant to look up. I looked up his age, but then nothing else about the actor who played Malik because he has this fucking weird accent that I can't place. But none of the other augments have an accent. But they were raised together.
Oh, he
and
sounded
fucking
like-
table flip,
I think he sounded like he was a Kiwi, I thought.
possibly.
I honestly just wrote it off to him really taking the trying to impersonate Montalban and Joaquin at the same time way too to heart.
Ugh. Yeah, I really did not like him.
Oh, he was yeah, no, fuck that guy.
I mean, he is supposed to be loathsome. We're not supposed to like
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
But I
he's
feel
not-
like we're disliking him for not the reasons the show
Yeah,
wants
so we're
us
just,
to
we just
dislike
like,
him.
this actor kind of blows.
He is in fact Glaswegian.
Oh, he's Scottish.
Yeah.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Malik.
What word did you use?
Glaswegian from Glasgow.
I have never heard that term before. It's a good
Oh,
name,
yep.
good word.
Mm-hmm. Now he's
But that
well, he's
didn't sound
born-
Scottish. That sounded like it sounded like maybe a Scot trying to do a Montalban. There you go.
I also don't know if he was actually raised in Scotland. Oh, this is confusing. There's also a Mark Newman who's a British physicist, so.
Ooh, it's definitely that one.
Different guy.
Oh my god, he was Paul Atreides in the 2000s Dune miniseries.
Yeah.
Oh
Shit.
shit, he's fine in that.
Yeah. Oh fuck, he's in
I like
Cyberpunk
that
2077.
miniseries.
Yeah, we just watched that recently.
Yeah, I thought he was fine in that. Man,
Yeah.
what the hell
Well,
is going wrong with this?
It's Enterprise. Nothing gets to be good in Enterprise. He's also in Cyberpunk. He's one of the main villains.
He's a real that guy.
Yeah, no, so I'm just
Real that guy.
I'm just gonna say, like, there's just everything just goes wrong with I don't know what it is. This episode, man, just well, I mean, there's a whole again, just the augments themselves. I don't like any of them. They're so bad.
Yeah, they're so it's all melodrama, and it's like
Yes.
their only motivation is make more of them. I'm not quite sure what they want to do.
And again,
Well, yeah, I think I get the idea that, you know, there's a lot of embryos that are still in storage and
Yeah.
Soong just wants to free them.
Right, and I'm sure we'll see that in part 2 of our 3-part arc thingy here.
I think
But that's
the thing
next
is,
week. Actually, that's
they
2
keep-
weeks from now, but fuck it.
They keep avoiding this conversation in Star Trek, and I know we probably brought it up before, but like this absolute terror humanity has developed of genetic engineering because of the eugenics wars, and it's like Like, yeah, obviously Eric, one of the bad ones. Because, like, not only did he take these augments, but he kept augmenting them more in ways that weren't necessarily necessary. But, like, guys, you can have stuff just for medical purposes and still ban making super soldiers. Will that stop people from doing it? No, obviously, but guess what? They could do it anyway if they really wanted. At least have some people working on the good stuff, too. Like, it's one thing they talk about we're learning from history. It's like, no, you're just cowering from history.
Yeah, there's an argument that Sung makes to Archer at the very end. I think it was Sung. Must have been Sung. In that, just out of fucking nowhere, this thing comes up that, oh, genetic augmentation could have saved your father's life. And I'm like, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah, well, we knew his father died young. They never specifically said why, so it was never directly said it wasn't because of this, so it's like, all right.
We have to make this personal for Archer.
Which is dumb. Couldn't have been personal for anyone else? Like...
Reed. Where's Reed?
Just think, Reed. It could have been that you could eat pineapple without an injection.
Oh my god, do it!
And he's like, I think I'm on your side now.
Sacrifice the whole crew for this.
And again, the fact that once there's the Federation, like, humanity gets literally everyone else on board. Including Denobulans, for example.
Right.
Who, like, must just give up doing it to join, because...
Yeah.
They
mentioned... Sung has this conversation with Phlox in which Phlox is being judgmental because the way that Sung is going about genetic modification is bad. The way Denobulans do it with all the fucking genocide is better.
But again, also at least there was precedent.
Yeah, we practice the old-fashioned kind of eugenics.
Yeah. But yeah,
and that's the title of this episode, The Old Ways.
There you go.
Old Vulcan traditions and home, old Denobulan genocidal urges.
And racism all around.
Oh, yeah. Which
the
is
oldest ways.
The oldest ways, yep.
Yeah.
You know who else practiced the old Vulcan ways?
T'Pol. Are we segueing? It sounds like we're segueing.
I think that was a segue.
I was trying to think of a clever joke to go with the segue, and I fucking failed.
Oh, that's fine.
That's all right. Vulcans really don't appreciate humor anyway.
Yeah, but we like this Vulcan because now we're going to talk about something much better, which is Tuvok. In our normal character spotlight series, and this is a fun one because everyone loves Tuvok. I had trouble thinking of bad things Tuvok did.
Yeah, mine are a stretch at best.
Mine are petty, like Vulcans.
Tuvok. Yay. We starting with goods?
Yes, we start with goods. As every single time so far, except with Wynn and Dukat.
Fair, because they're not good at all.
They're the best.
Okay, here we go. So the thing about Tuvok is he's just so solid that, like...
He's consistent.
Nothing that he does is, like, particularly, like...
Egregious,
or, like there's some things that are good, but, like, nothing that's just, like, yeah... So yeah, it's all just like, no, he's just consistently a good person.
Yeah.
So trying to pick 3 standout moments for me was tricky.
Yeah.
But here's what I came up with: being a damn good holonovelist and being kind of subtle about it, not being not letting his ego get to him.
Unlike certain holographic doctors would do in the same
right. But yeah, that of course is a reference to, can't remember the episode, but
worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, yeah, where he is the ghost author of the hottest new holonovel, The Maquis Take Over the Ship. I'm gonna say, trying to help at some great personal expense, I should mention, Lon Suitor.
Yay! That's one of my favorites.
He did a meld and it fucked up his brain, but he was gonna. And then, even though Lon Suitor was a murderous scumbag, or not a scumbag, but just a murderous, crazy man, Tuvok still, like, said a prayer for him when he died. And everything.
Yeah, and he helped him with his plant thing in Basics.
Yeah.
Which is very nice of him.
And then I'm just going to say the wholesome relationship he had with Neelix in Riddles.
Oh, you're picking the easy one, Jake. I was going to give that one as a gift to Caitlin.
I still am gonna claim it.
Yay!
Maybe, so.
I love that one so much.
Yeah.
Actually, I could go next if you want, because I can just slide right in.
Yeah, slide into that beautiful Tim Russ, Ethan Phillips action.
Because that relationship is beautiful. He helps Kess learn how to better manage her psychic abilities, for better or for worse, which kind of, I also thought of the suitor thing, but I might put that elsewhere. He dances for Neelix.
Yay!
Finally, he dances for Neelix, which I love. And yeah, just in general, the relationship, as Jake was saying, between Neelix and Tuvok in the riddle.
Yeah, and then he goes and effectively sacrifices his new personality for the ship, for the good of the ship.
Yeah.
The needs of the many.
Good guy,
Damn it,
Tuvok.
Vulcans.
The needs of the many. It's those are the old ways. The needs of the many.
How about you, Chris?
So I got a little overlap. Even after Meld goes so wrong, we find out in Basics that he was still working with Suitor in other ways to try to help rehabilitate him, not just ignoring him in his room for the rest of the trip, which is, good of him to actually believe in rehabilitation and not just punishment. Never being weird when he's Kess's mentor. He's not out to bang her or anything, as we see in Darkling, when he's like, he goes to the guy she's potentially gonna go off into space with, not as like, stay away from my girl, and more like, just don't get her into danger, would you?
I don't remember this scene. What did he say?
So basically him and the guy are going over like the charts, and it's like, oh yeah, this area of space is like super dangerous, don't bring Voyager there. And he's like, yeah, but this would add like 7 months to our trip. And the dude is like, they are that fucking dangerous. And he's like, you're not gonna bring Kess there, are you?
Oh,
like, no,
there you go. Aww.
Yeah, and especially in an episode where like the whole thing is like Doc is being weird about her potentially leaving the ship. He's just like, don't hurt my friend and student.
Yeah, it's not being overprotective, it's being realistic.
Yeah, and again, like, so he respects her as a student and a friend. She is not at all an object of affection. Well, that kind of affection,
Yeah,
like,
but he still has her best interests in mind, and he's like, well, make sure to, be nice to her.
Yeah, he's not being weird, he's not being jealous Neelix, because they would still do that at this point sometimes. Well, no, I think this is after they broke up. But, and it's not like Tom being weird about, like, he's just genuinely a friend.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely after they broke up, because she's got a new boyfriend.
Yeah, I realized that as I said it. So, yeah, so that and Darkling, working with Suitor and Basics, representing Quinn, even though he doesn't agree with his philosophy, in Death Wish.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because he's like, even though Vulcans practice euthanasia for those who are, like, infirm and in pain and things like that, you just seem to want to die because you're bored, which I do not understand.
Cool. That's a good one. I like that. I've got some other ones that haven't come up yet. Let's start with oh boy, this is a good one. In Alter Ego, he has this great conversation with Morena, the in-the-flesh Morena, as opposed to the holodeck Morena, about loneliness and isolation, and I fucking love them together. And it wasn't a romantic thing, it was just we are people who are lonely, and maybe sometime you should, check out your home.
I forgot she had, like, a puppet master.
Yeah, the one that was banging Kim?
Yeah, I kind of saw that episode when I was going through his Memory Alpha page, and I completely forgot about that aspect of the episode.
Oh yeah, it was a beautiful moment in that episode, because, he's prepared to effectively, like, maroon himself with her so that she'll let Voyager go. Yeah. And he talks her out of it with reason and logic and personal connection, and fucking go Tuvok.
Yeah, Jesus, I forgot all about that.
I love that. Got another good one here. Even though I fucking hate this episode because the little children in it are awful, he goes and is with the little girl when she dies in innocence because she didn't want to do it alone.
Yeah, that is a nice one.
Good man, Tuvok.
In a very annoying episode.
Yeah. I mean, he has to deal with them in the first place, which makes him a fucking saint.
And he does the dad point at that one scene.
And one more that I like, and that's in Random Thoughts. He tricks those fucking, like, telepath people who are trying to get Torres lobotomized, and he decides, you want to see some real messed up shit? Why don't you connect with my brain, and I'm going to show you everything from Event Horizon. Go Good work, Tuvok. You tricked him good, and I love it.
Hope you like Sam Neill with bloody eye sockets.
Oh, I do.
I do not.
I like Sam Neill.
I just
Good
don't like
actor.
bloody eye sockets, you know?
No,
Well, what
that's
else
fair.
won't we like?
Let's see.
Bad Tuvok things.
Bad Tuvok. So I'm gonna say trying to so when they visit that planet that pulls the Uno reverse with the Prime Directive
Mm.
and is like, no, we can't give you our fancy transporter
Oh,
technology.
right.
And Tuvok's like, you know what? And Janeway's like, dude, okay, everybody, whatever you do not violate this rule. And Tuvok's like, fuck it. I'm gonna go steal, buy this technology that I was ordered not to buy.
I forgot
Hilariously,
he was
that was on my
involved
good
in that.
list.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's good in that it's like, but I mean, it's sad that it didn't work. But
Yeah, and it breaks the Prime Directive utterly.
well, it's the reverse Prime Directive.
The Uno
Yeah.
reverse.
It's okay to break the Prime Directive when it's against you.
Ha!
I'm gonna say again, but and this is by no fault of his own, I guess. But when he was brainwashed by that angry Maquis guy that wanted him to go and kill the rest of the Maquis or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
That was a weird episode. That's repression, I think.
Yeah,
It's a-
whatever.
Strange thing.
Yeah. Again, I'm grasping at straws here.
He does mutiny.
Yeah. And then I'm just gonna say being a fucking turncoat. And because he was friends with the Maquis, and then it turns out he was a spy the whole time and betrayed their
What?
friendships.
What?
I genuinely, when I was getting desperate, was considering having lied to Chakotay on my list.
Yeah, well, that's basically.
How could
Like I
anyone
say, it's
lie to
hard to find
Chakotay?
bad things about this guy. But yeah, I will say being a spy. I had a different one, but then I changed my mind. So that's my pull it out of my ass one.
Weird.
I like it.
It's a
I
weird
like
one. Weren't those under orders from Janeway?
Yeah, well, Janeway's
She
a bitch too.
We've
I mean, in
discussed
reality,
this.
Those probably came down from Starfleet Command, who are the worst.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't think it was Janeway's orders. I think it was because I don't think he was on, or was he on Janeway's crew?
Yeah.
With, I can't remember.
yeah.
I know Jake said him trying to help Suter was a good thing, but it led to some shit. He wound up getting all violent like.
He got obsessed with it, too.
So that's unfortunate. So I'm trying to think what else here. 'Cause I actually had another one until like a second ago, and now my brain is empty.
Must have had a
Oh.
mind meld.
Yeah. Doesn't he also kind of fucking break Kess too?
I mean, she boils his head.
Oh, right. That's more of a bad Kess moment, though.
Well, that was just because that shitty. What's her species called?
Ocampans.
Ocampa.
That shitty Ocampa, played by Saval, was having her go too fast with her mind powers.
I did write down that he was being a prick to her about it, and I don't remember how or why I wrote that down. But there's something there, Caitlin.
That sounds familiar. I think he was like, you're being. I think because he was like, you're going way too fast and blah, blah, blah.
She was
Yeah, I
like,
think
"Shut
there's
up-
definitely
shut
something
up,
in there."
Dad. Yeah, I can't remember exactly. And the other thing is like, just the, again, like the opposite of good stuff is like, he's kind of a dick to Neelix for a long time. I mean, he does dance. They do have a good relationship ultimately, but he's pretty weird about it. And
I mean,
he's
to be
pretty,
fair,
and he's shitty to the mark.
is frequently
Obnoxious.
racist towards him, which
That's-
is
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah,
I
I
think-
guess that's true.
I think
But
the
I-
prototypical example of that is in Rise, when Tuvok is
Yeah.
just being the worst to Neelix until Neelix
Yeah.
actually has to call him out on it.
I forgot about that. Yeah, when Neelix finally stands up for himself.
Yeah. But no, he's definitely a dick to Neelix.
Yeah.
It's kind of John Candy finally losing it at Steve Martin in Planes, Trains.
I gotta rewatch Planes, Trains.
Good
Fucking
actor.
love John Candy.
He's so good in that.
Me too, and he's so great in that film.
I also like the sequel, the one Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
What about Planes? You ever seen that
Just
one?
Planes.
Just Planes.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Just Planes is a Cars spin-off movie, isn't it?
What's
Probably.
weird? What's weird is that neither John Candy nor Steve Martin are in that one, but Leslie Nielsen is.
Oh, I love him too.
So yes, I similarly had trouble with good, bad moments for him. So mine aren't great. Not gonna lie. Resolutions, he is so fucking stubborn with just following Janeway's final orders that he nearly causes a mutiny.
Oh, wow, that's a good point.
Although, honorable mention, that is the episode where he's wearing that sweet purple robe in his off time, which he looked so good in.
Wow, I tried to write your name, Chris, and I wrote chair. What the fuck? I'm taking down these notes for who said what, and I write chair. Good work, Ames.
I'll go by chair from now on. Okay, now, so this is one where I've got 3 different examples. I need to decide which one to go with.
But we haven't brought up any of them yet.
No, we brought up one of them, so I guess I won't do that one. Let's go with ex post facto. Where, we joked about this a lot during the show in general, but this is my example of, he can be a little meld happy. Other Vulcans, it's a mind meld, it's kind of a very intimate thing we don't love doing if we don't have to. He jumps to meld pretty quick. The Doctor is maybe you shouldn't mind meld with Tom in ex post facto, because we don't really know what's going on in his brain right now. It could fuck you up too. And he's like, meld. And then again, we do see it later with meld. And even Warlord, where Kes has something bouncing around in her brain, and he's like, I'm still gonna mind meld. It's like, dude, there's gotta be something. But let's go with ex post facto is my specific one.
Cool. And yet funny, because there are other episodes where it's this is a perfect opportunity for Tuvok to meld to figure out what's going on, and they never do it then.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Spock is out there melding with ships and whales and who knows what the fuck hordas.
Bowls of petunias. What were you gonna say, Jake?
I thought of a better one for my third one. If we want to, if I can get a redo after Chris goes.
You want to see if I have it on my list first? Because Chris
I assume you have a lot of spares.
I have it. You guys have named all none of the ones on my bad list so far.
Well, then good. Then I'll be able to do it.
All right. Well, my last one. Not deleting the program he wrote in worst case scenario when he realized it was no longer necessary. Because, had people found that, he's lucky. People found that were what a fun video game. Instead of being what the fuck, dude? Haven't we proven ourselves?
That's a good point. But I feel like Tuvok is the type that doesn't delete anything, because in case it's ever useful in the future.
I know, but he at least should have, protected it, maybe put it on a thumb drive and gotten it out of the central computer.
Where the fuck was it B'Elanna that found this thing? Who found this thing first?
Tom just found it.
Yeah.
Weird. You're the security officer. Have better security.
Actually, no, wait. Wasn't it B'Elanna? I think it was B'Elanna.
She's the first one we see playing it, but where did she get it?
She's the one that's playing it, and she says
maybe
later that she just found it in the computer, and then she shares it with Tom.
That's right. Yeah, so you're right. It was B'Elanna. Good call. But either way, shouldn't have just been so findable.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had the inverse on that, and that's that he should have finished it, because then not Seska wouldn't have been able to go in and tweak it. But fascinatingly, you guys haven't picked off my top 3 yet, so I'm going to go with these.
Can I say my alternate?
What if it's one of my top 3?
No, I was gonna say let Ames do hers, and then you get your alternates.
But
you know
what if
the
she
rules.
says what if she says my alternate?
Well, then
it's
fine. Go ahead.
That's not an alternate.
It's not an alternate. I'm trying to replace one of mine that I didn't like.
I still don't know if I
think
whatever. Ames, you go. If you say it, I'll cry, but it's fine.
Okay,
I think lying to Chakotay is hilarious.
That is a good one. Okay, let's see if it is one of these then, Jake. Because my tippy top terrible thing that I fucking can't stand that Tuvok did, and this is actually bad, is how he insists Paris bang Torres in Blood Fever.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Because there's no consent involved, but it's because it's the excuse that Vulcan weirdness, and I can't stand that, and I still fucking detest that whole episode, and Tuvok should not have been advocating for what's effectively rape.
Yeah, bad episode.
Don't like it.
Nope.
Oh, man. Okay, Jake, was it this one? Because this actually sounds like something you might think of. And that's in Learning Curve, making all the trainees run a 10K.
No, it wasn't that. But
okay.
but
that is
especially
some
poor
bullshit.
what's his face? The
Shell,
Bolian,
yeah.
I was gonna say the
guy.
Bolian, yeah.
Fucking loved him.
God, because what the fuck is that? How are you training these people? You're so bad at this, Tuvok. Like, Neelix has to school you later to be like, you're unbending or some shit. And Tuvok's like, oh, and think of it that way. And the last one on my bad, naughty Tuvok list is in investigations when they're trying to figure out who the saboteur is, they come up with this fucking moron plan to get Tom captured by Kazon. Tell fucking no one what's going on. They never tell Chakotay or the fucking Talaxians they pawn Tom off on. And it's the dumbest, stupidest plan. And I don't like that he did that. It was so like ridiculous.
You know, that does prove,
they
though.
did it because they didn't know who the leaker was, right? They didn't know who the mole on board was, and they didn't want to give that away.
Well, it was a bad plan.
True.
I mean, not, keeping it close to the vest as far as, like, how many people on board know, that makes sense. The rest of it is needlessly convoluted, and I think points to the fact that, yes, Vulcans and Romulans have a common ancestor.
Yeah. This is a Romulan plan. This isn't a Vulcan plan.
No.
It was very complicated.
Okay. What are you swapping, Jake?
Okay, so yeah, the being mean to Chakotay or lying to Chakotay, yeah, that was stupid.
Okay.
So I'm going to change it to one that's not as stupid, but still pretty stupid. Until he found out, until it was going to affect his friend, he was really into the thought police people.
That's true.
In fucking Random Thoughts.
That is true.
That's a good one.
He really like him and that cop lady were all like, yeah, fucking thought police. It's good shit. And then when B'Elanna got in trouble, then suddenly, maybe this ain't so good.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Cool.
All right.
I have actually a surprise honorable mention, and that's bringing Sulu his tea. Because I love them.
When I was getting desperate, I also considered bad being a little kiss ass.
Oh, I got a bad one. Yeah, I got a bad one, though. Letting that little girl, fall to her death in the crevasse. Repeatedly.
Good joke.
Nice. That actually went pretty smoothly, considering we were all coming into this being like, this was hard.
It was hard.
It was. But you know what's not hard? Staying tuned to A Star to Steer Her By for more fun content.
Definitely not Trip. He's always hard.
Oh, no.
Literally always, yeah.
So next week, next week, it's a 10 forward, kids.
It is?
But yes, the gods of space and time have coalesced, and our next release date is July 4th. So we're finally taking a look at the Brent Spiner vehicle Independence Day.
It's a Brent Spiner vehicle now. I love that.
Yep. So yeah, look forward to that. Follow us.
The timing works out perfectly.
Yep.
And I've literally never seen it, so...
Really? Holy shit.
Yeah.
I think we should do both, because I've not seen the second one.
I don't know. The second one is supposed to be...
I think we should save it for another year.
But
by all accounts,
the next time we hit July 4th again will be like 7 years from now.
We'll have just run out of Discovery.
July
and
4th
Picard.
happens every year.
Yeah, but that we're releasing on.
Oh.
I mean, we could do it just on a non-July 4th
next year we release on July 5th. It's fine.
Yeah, we do our Christmas special every year on days that are not Christmas.
True. But either way, to find out when we do it, or maybe we do it, who knows, we'll see. Time for a surprise. Yeah. Follow us on Facebook and Tumblr, where our tops and bottoms for Tuvok will have been, among other things. And yeah, subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting application. We upload through SoundCloud. And yeah, join us for more. Until next week, this has been Chair.
Thank you, Chair. This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is always Footstool.
Speaking of chair, we forgot to mention that the Enterprise gets its new chair this week.
Fuck, we did. Is that just the one he designed when he was like space crazy in season 1?
No, that one was much more ridiculous.
This
is just an actual chair.
Yeah, new chair. That was great.
Chair from Nemesis.
Oh, I did love though. I don't know if it was deliberate reference to it, but the just don't press this button, all I could think of
Fuck,
was
Finny!
the Finny tube.
I meant to mention that. Son of a bitch.
Cut all that. That worked fairly terribly.
Can I use it as the post credits if I can't find anything else?
Whatever you want, friend.
Jake's face. What the fuck?
Never look at Jake. Jake, turn your camera off.
Oh.
No.